Welcome back to America Decides. Not sure if you've heard about this, but on Monday, President-elect Trump is going to be inaugurated for a second term. Talk about that. Kevin Sheridan, Republican strategist, Joel Payne, Democratic strategist. Kevin, you're the winning side. Sketch out what the first week looks like of the Trump 2.0 administration.
I think it's shock and awe 2.0. I think.
What does that mean? A lot of people say that. What does that mean? Who's going to be shocked and who's going to be awed?
It sounds like there's going to be a lot of activity with EOs on
executive orders
on the border, on immigrants who are here illegally now, especially criminals. I think you'll see probably a lot of energy executive orders on drilling on land that he wants to
federal lands being
potentially open up. I could see him halting wind projects. He's been talking a lot about the whales, so I could see him. Look, they've had 4 years to plan for this one. It's going to be a lot different than 2016. I think they've got the personnel in place. I think they're ready to go. I mean, this transition from a Republican perspective has looked much, much different. There's very little Republican opposition anymore, almost none. And they know that they've got to deliver on the mandate that the American people just gave him. And I think he's going to get started right away.
And that question about loyalty to Trump has already been asked and answered. You're not in if you have any clouds hanging over you on that question, right?
Yeah, I think he's got the personnel he wants. His candidates for the cabinet are going through really well. I don't see any of them going down right now. Obviously, we still got RFK and a couple more to go, but it's looking like it's going to be off to a very good start for him.
Joel, when you hear words like shock and awe, from a Democratic perspective, what does that instill in you?
I think it instills a lot of concern, not just from a Democratic perspective, but for the 75 million people that voted for Kamala Harris, for the millions more that may have voted for Donald Trump but did not vote for the version of Donald Trump that we're hearing saber rattling about. It really depends on how you define this mandate that Donald Trump believes he has. I don't think it's a mandate to go and turn communities against each other, to pull people out of synagogues and churches and schools and places of worship and workplaces and turn neighborhoods against each other. I think it was for cheaper eggs and common sense. That was the mandate. And so if Donald Trump chooses to stray away from that mandate, I think politically he'll be punished for it. He's enjoying a honeymoon this time around like he didn't last time around. I think that'll be very short-lived if he overreads this mandate.
When Joel says cheaper eggs and common sense and also talks about the potential of immigration raids in schools, churches, places of work, is that what we're going to see, or do you think other things will be on the immigration front that are more selective and less politically potent or injurious to Trump?
Yeah, I think the sweet spot for getting this started the right way is probably make it very much about the criminals that are here. Anybody that's got a criminal record, anybody that violates the law while they're in the United States and has been let out, they should be gone after right away. I think that's where you're going to see the biggest focus on them. And then you're going to see a lot of different, I think, measures taken so that people choose to deport themselves. I mean, we talked a lot about self-deportation going way back to 2012.
You remember that? You were on that
we got mocked
campaign.
for it, but it's actually started to even happen now. You're seeing reports of it.
What's his second pitch?
What do you mean?
I mean, after he goes and does the shock and awe immigration, what's his plan? How's he going to make life more affordable for the American people? How is he going to actually govern
tax cuts for the middle class?
Govern as a majority politician. It's easy to campaign as an opposition politician. It's not easy to govern and keep a majority coalition together. And Donald Trump has not proven he can do that.
As you know, he cut regulation the first time. He lowered taxes for the middle class last time. The economy took off. And I think you're going to see the same thing this time. That's what Republicans have been working on with the bill that they're crafting right now. And you're going to see some of it legislatively, some of it regulatory. And I think it's going to all take off next week.
And how much of this is going to depend on Trump's working relationship with House Republicans and House Republican leadership and the very, very nearly historic, not more than 100 years if we had a majority of either party as small as this one's going to be?
Hey, they're all in it together. So if they can't get something passed, if one person holds them up, if two people, decide that they want to tank something, it's going to be all on them. Trump's going to have to mobilize the MAGA base. There's an entire MAGA network, media network out there now.
So social
very
media
powerful,
influencers and others?
Very powerful with Republican primary voters. And if any of these guys, if they don't want to keep their jobs, maybe they're a skunk at the party. But I can't see a lot of that right now. There just doesn't seem to be the will for it.
So this is what fealty looks like, and I just want to say politically, this is what is going to. It's what fealty looks like. I mean, Donald Trump is talking about withholding relief aid to Los Angeles and tying it to this giant reconciliation bill, which is going to be a Christmas tree for our friends a block over on K Street. I don't think that this is going to wear well. I get that people are excited and full of vigor because Donald Trump is more popular than he's ever been, but I don't know if this is going to wear well in 3 months and 6 months. And again, we've never seen Donald Trump govern as a majority politician.
He's a results-oriented guy, if nothing else. I think he knows he's got to get the economy fixed. He's got to get inflation down. He's got to fix the border. If he doesn't do those things, you're right.
He'll be held accountable politically. How do you think this TikTok thing plays out with Trump coming in and reversing? He's now a fan of it, wants to try to find some grandiose deal to say I'm the great deal maker. How do you see that going?
Sounds like they're going to try to get a delay on it. I don't know how you really
There's a 90-day window that you can sort of delay harsh implementation of it, and maybe you use that as a negotiating time period.
I think he will twist every arm he can to try to get the Chinese to sell
but he has to go through the Chinese to do it, because there's no shortage of potential
it says a lot
buyers.
about TikTok and the Chinese Communist Party that they're not selling, even though there are buyers out there for it. So
what does that
mean
selling,
to you? What do you think it means? It
that
means
they know what it is.
They're using it as spyware.
This is interesting to me. This fits into a growing narrative. And look, Joe Biden talked about the oligarchy, he talked about the robber barons, but let's just speak plainly. There are going to be billionaires, the three richest men in the world, in the history of the world, are going to be surrounding Donald Trump when he takes the oath of office. Okay, and I don't think that the American people signed up for this. Again, it's how you define the mandate. Did the American people, the people who voted for Donald Trump, did they sign up for Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos and Peter Thiel, who is sponsoring J.D. Vance to control everything?
These are the most successful entrepreneurs in the history of our country.
And you want them to make every decision for us.
They're not just financiers who are, coming in and, however George Soros made his money. So look, there's billionaires on both sides. These guys, if they have something to offer, Elon Musk is a very successful, very smart guy. If he has something to offer on getting the government more efficient, he should listen.
And he maybe should not be the biggest government contractor we have right now.
Joel Payne gets the last word on this Friday. Joel Payne, Kevin Sheridan, thanks so much.